my disappearance. Hello, if you found this audio log, then I guess it's bad news for me. I want to tell my story as a warning for you. Let's start at the beginning. My name is Travis, and I'm a detective who mainly handles cases of homicide. 3 weeks ago, I was called in to investigate a person's death. It was night, and when I arrived, it also happened that there was a thunderstorm currently going on. There were 2 police officer cars outside of the house. I stepped out of my car and looked into the pouring rain. Immediately, one of those officers emerged from the inside of the house and greeted me. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. "Oh, you're here," he said while shaking my hand. "My name's Officer Williams," he stated. I replied, "Name's Travis." As we walked towards the house, I started to notice how beat up it was. At first glance, it looked like a regular house, though it definitely needed a new paint job. But looking closer at it, it was apparent something had happened to it. There were scratch marks on the walls, and the door had been broken in, and there were weird like print tints of mud, but they were bigger than that of any deer I'd seen. Officer Williams noticed my confused look and said, "Oh, yeah, the house. I think this is bad. Just wait until you're inside." As I walked, sure enough, the inside was even worse. Claw marks on the walls inside, scratches on most of the surfaces, those same hoofs print on the ground, and blood everywhere. As I stared in horror at the destroyed room, William started filling me in on what had happened. "We think some kind of bear must have broken in and attacked, but I've never seen a bear that could do this," he said while gesturing at the room. "Neither have I," I admitted. We pointed to the door beside, and I guess that was the bedroom. "Bodies are in there," he said. I walked towards the door, and the awful smell of blood that had been filling the room got worse with each step I took. The battered doorway. This door had been broken down too. I looked back at Williams, standing there with a nervous look on his face. "You coming?" "No," he replied. "Personally, I preferred that. I liked being able to work by myself. I worked in the smell of blood was upper tenfold, but it wasn't that familiar smell of corpse, just blood." I looked around and immediately realized why. Laying on the bed was a bloody skeleton. There was no flesh, just blood and bone. I was confused. Judging by how fresh the blood was, this couldn't have happened more than a day or 2 ago. I looked around for more evidence of what could have done this, and found more claw marks and more of those damn hoof prints. After a while of looking around the room and exploring the rest of the diagonal house, Officer Williams said, "It's probably the best that we get going." I agreed with him on that. Something about this house felt wrong. As we left, right before we were going to say our goodbyes, there was a loud crash that sounded like shattered glass. Both of us instinctively took out our guns and pointed them at the house. We slowly made our way in, and we heard the sound of crunching bone. It was coming from the bedroom. I looked inside and I saw what still haunts me to this day. There was a tall black figure with long claw, sharp fangs, and a deer skull for a head. And worst of all, it had glowing white eyes. The horrid thing was eating the skeleton that had been laying on the bed. It turned to me. Bang, bang. "Don't worry, that door will still hold." Anyways, it stared at me. Its glowing eyes, white, seemed to pierce my soul. And then there was a flashing lightning, and I saw the true horror that was standing in front of me. It was thin, it looked massacred, it had gray skin, a huge mane of hair which down its neck and upper back, and deer-like hooves for feet. It screeched a loud gurgling, awful sound, and made a strange demonic screech that, while gurgly and scratchy, it unmistakably get out.